Yeah, obviously, good win, good scheduling, big difference. You know, you got Delaware State after Cincinnati. That's a coming off Cincinnati. That's a tough one. As we talked all week, you guys asked about like how do you get your kids back ready to play? Like, and I think we did a good job. I think the kids and coaches did a good job, but it's still hard. Still hard to come back with that same. So having Delaware State at home is a nice. You know, having your one AA opponent at home is a nice. Kind of gives you a better chance to get through the next one. We did. Nice thing is, made a lot of plays on both sides of the ball. Executed pretty well. We had some issues in man coverage. A couple times we didn't take our guy through a screen pass for a touchdown. We should have had a guy on him, but other than that, we executed pretty good. And we talked all week like execution has nothing to do with your opponent. Execution has to do with getting a call, getting lined up, getting your mind right. You know, then the physical play has to do with your opponent. So we saw if we execute, we're gonna have a chance to make a bunch of plays, and we did. So got a bunch of guys in the game. A bunch of kids played their first college game. Kids had success, made catches, made runs, made tackles. So that was awesome to get those kids out there and start building their confidence or building their knowledge base or building their experience. So got a lot. Obviously played tons and tons of kids. So that was a huge bonus on Saturday.
All right, questions? How are we doing on the injury front these days?
Yeah, we're doing pretty good. Obviously, Coldy's done for the year, but other than that, we're probably like every team. Going into week 5, we're beat up pretty good, but overall, we got a lot of our starters out early. Obviously, in that game, which was nice to take some hits off them. So again, these last 8 weeks, it's about rest, recovery, staying strong in the weight room. And everybody, no one's going to feel good from here on out. Even the healthy guys are going to feel beat up. But we're in pretty good shape heading into conference play. Yeah, we'll see. He's nicked up right now, but we'll see how the week goes. And if still, there's a number of guys you don't really know probably till Wednesday or Thursday will be, but there's a good chance he'll be ready to go in the near future. So. Like, again, it's always Sunday, you take inventory, Monday, you kind of see how things, and Tuesday, you got a pretty good feel for it. It's been 48 hours, 72 hours, and how quickly are they responding, with all these injuries from lower body to upper body, you name it, like, what's the swelling look like, what's the range of motion, what's their strength getting back. So these first 48 hours are so critical. Usually by about Tuesday at noon, I got a pretty good idea who's going to be practicing on Tuesday and who should be ready by Saturday. And then there's other kids that won't practice on Tuesday but will still be ready by Saturday. Like it's trending in the right direction. So obviously right now it's still too early to tell. Probably 5 or 6 guys that you're going to have that every week.
Really strong offensive performance the last 3 weeks. Is this offense any different than previous offenses you've had? Where do you think it is going into the MAC schedule?
Yeah, I think every year, I haven't really thought of it in those terms comparing it to old. We had a planned spring ball to try to be able to run and throw the football efficiently. We've done that inconsistently, but we've done it. We haven't done it to the level we like yet, but at times we've thrown the ball very well. At times we've run the ball very well. Some of that has to do with our opponents, like we talked. There's been there's a big difference between Miami of Florida and Delaware State. So some of it has to do with your opponents. So you get in a MAC play and everybody's kind of the same within a certain degree. There's not the huge difference between opponents like you get in our non-league play typically. So you can kind of settle in and figure out who you are, but we're building to try to be a consistent offense and be able to run the football effectively, efficiently, and throw the ball effectively and efficiently. And again, we've definitely shown signs that we can do it. Obviously, Saturday was a game that you'd like to go out there and do both at a very high level, and sometimes in the past against that type of opponent we haven't. We've struggled at times to move the ball as considered. Obviously Saturday we executed very well on offense, and we said if we did, we're gonna have a lot of plays to be made, and so it was a good day. How we executed, like I said, doesn't have to do with the opponent. We executed good, and that gave us a chance to overwhelm our opponent at times.
You scored 17 more points in the game on Saturday than your previous high as a team in your time here. Previously, when you played some of the FCS schools, and you've pulled some of your starters later on in those games. The offense has kind of slowed down, but you were getting pretty low on the depth chart, and your guys were still pretty efficient. You know, Avion was in, you had fifth, sixth string running backs, and you were still scoring pretty effectively. Does that say anything about the depth of your team? You think that you can go that low on the depth chart and you don't really see any difference in the offense?
Yes, definitely. I think you hit the nail on the head. There's, our second O-line still got the job done and gave our backs really nice holes to run through, where maybe in the past you went backups and backup tailbacks, and now we're not blocking as good, and, now you're not moving the ball and you're punting and you're not scoring. So certainly we didn't really throw it. We just kept running it, but our O-line kept blocking. We had a bunch of young O-linemen in there. They were excited to play. They didn't really care about the score, and most of those guys hadn't played before in a game, so they were really jacked up just to get out there and try to go block some people, and did a really nice job. Then we've talked about the depth we've had at tailback all along, that we think we have really good depth at tailback. So when we start to get lower in our tailbacks, we're not surprised that our third, fourth, fifth, sixth guys are pretty good players. We know they're pretty good players. So, but it was also awesome to get those guys out there because they haven't had as many reps, and we're going to need them down the stretch. So to get Jordan Brunson out there, and again, he showed his upside and what he's capable of doing when he got out there late. And again, when you think, okay, we're probably going to need him down the road this year, something happened, and now he's got some more game reps under his belt. He played a little bit at Miami, Florida, but just a couple plays, and then he got some actual time. So it's nice. And then, like we talked, like the Milanowskis of the world that show up every day with their lunch pail and they grind for the company, and they're not the CEO, and they're not, you're not the high-priced guy. But they do all the dirty work, and they go to help our defense get prepared every week. And then for him to get that opportunity and then have all the success, we blocked really good, and he ran really good, and he's a good player. He's a good player. He's behind some really good tailbacks. I was not surprised to see him really go out there and run the ball really well, because our defense will tell you that he's a tough nut. He's got a nose for the hole. He's really good at seeing holes and making cuts. So we weren't, but it was nice for that kid and other kids like that to get that opportunity and get rewarded for all the hard work they do for us.
Having finished non-conference play and heading into conference play, how do you feel about your defensive pressure and turnover margin numbers? Are you looking to increase that as you go along here?
Yeah, we would definitely always looking to win the turnover battle, always we'll looking to win the chunk play battle. What teams do against us, too, structurally, they know we have a good pass rush, a lot of teams, so like Saturday was hard to get. I don't know that they threw 1, 2, or 3 5-step drops the whole game. It was screens and quick throws. So not a day, even though the opponent says maybe, we're going to get a bunch of sacks today, but they're smart. They're not trying to get their quarterback hit a bunch, and so they're basically, they threw more screens than you'll ever see, and they threw a lot of quick throws, which is exactly what I would have done, and they had some success obviously with the screens. So to me, it was a good plan on their standpoint. But so some of it is who you're playing, and Miami, Florida, more, they weren't afraid to throw a 5-step. We couldn't get home, This week, if they had thrown a 5-step, I think we had a bunch of sacks and maybe create some turnovers, but they were smart about what they did. So, but that's every week. We talk about turnovers and chunk plays. That dictates winning and losing. So if you win the chunk play battle and you win the turnover battle, you're going to win most of your games. If you don't, you probably are decreasing your chances. You can still win some. We won at UMass, not win the turnover margin, but that's hard to do.
So what can you tell us about Kent State?
Yeah, we'll start off all, if we talk to the team yesterday, once you go into MAC play, the non-conference is great. Are we jacked up to be 3-1? Yeah, we're crazy jacked up to be 3-1. Are we really happy that we played 3 road games and 1 home game and we're 3-1? Yes. Do we feel really good about a road victory at UMass under, some different circumstances? Yes. Do we feel great? Fantastic. Words can't describe how we feel about going down to Nipper in front of 40,000, find a way to win that one. Yeah, we feel great, but we've been around long, it means nothing now. Now, hopefully we've gained some confidence. Hopefully we've gained some knowledge of our strengths and weaknesses, and we can use that, our experience, to our advantage, no doubt. But the MAC's the MAC. Every year it's everybody looks at records. I'm going to get asked this week 35 times, is Kent State's 1-3, and it's. And again, I don't even understand it, because a lot of people ask me the questions, know the MAC. They're not very good. No, everybody just looks at records and assumes, look at who they played. We were 1-3 a lot of times. We were 1-3 last time we won the league. And we got blown out by Cincinnati, blown out by Iowa, and blown out by Ohio State. So everybody thought we weren't any good. Well, we were good. But we didn't have a chance to be good in preseason because we played, you look at who Kent State plays. They played, well, they're 1-3, they're not very good. This should be an easy one. Like, okay, you're an idiot. One, it's the MAC. There are no easy ones. Two, we're going on the road. Look at everybody's road record. Like, last 2 times we went to their stadium, we beat them 19-16 or 21. I don't know what it was. We beat them in 19, by the skin of our teeth on the way to win the conference championship. The next time we went there, we lost 49-48 or 48-47. Like, and that's what the game's going to be like. They're very well coached. They got a new coach. They got a new defensive system, which is a benefit to them because they've been all over the board on defense. They've been really good on offense previously, but they're all over the map on defense. It seemed like every year they were putting something new on defense, so they weren't really good at it because it wasn't a system. It was this year's where they've got a defense coordinator that has a system. They're really sound. They do a really good job. You know exactly what they're doing. You know how they're aligning. You know the techniques they're being taught on the front and on the back end, and they're playing good defense. Central Florida got after them. That thing got ugly in a hurry. Central Florida just kind of overwhelmed them. First game, tempo, knew everything. Week 2, their defense kicked Arkansas. I mean, you watch the Arkansas game. And Arkansas just almost beat LSU. Like, they gave 28 points. Arkansas had 4.4 yards per play for the game. They had 1 chunk pass the whole game. There was a contested catch. Like, Arkansas could not move the ball in Kent's defense. They're running the same stuff on offense. Last year's quarterback coach is a new OC. So they're doing the same stuff. It's coming. They have a lot of new personnel on offense. So running the same offense with the same kids, it's a huge benefit. They lost a lot of their personnel from last year. All right, so you can see that offense at times starting to click, but part of it, they're playing Fresno, they're playing Arkansas, they're playing Central Florida. Now you watch their 1AA game, their offense looked like their offense. They're moving up and down the field, they're going really fast, they're snapping the ball 28, 29 on the play clock, and they're causing the same issues. So they will be a good MAC team. They will be a very tough opponent for everybody who plays them. They're going to be well coached. They're going to play hard. Their offense is going to be a pain in the you-know-what because of the tempo as always, and you don't see it every week. So when you do see it, it's a lot to get prepared for. And if you're not prepared for it, the tempo will get you beat. And that defensively, they're really sound, and they've played really, really good defense in 2 of their 4 games. The other games, the games got a little bit out of hand. So, but it's an 8-week, it's a 1-week championship. That's what it's like. We got a 1-week championship. Like, we're trying to and if you approach this league any other way, you will get beat as soon as you think a game might be a little easier than it's going to be, you're going to get beat. So we're not, and again, you're 3-1, you feel good, you've done this and whatever, they're 1-3, I don't know, whatever. Like, that's not how this is. There's the difference, there's not Ohio State and the lowest Big Ten team. It's not Alabama and Vandy. It's not, there's not huge discrepancies in budgets, and like, it's very even across the board. Ohio State has so much more than Minnesota has. It's not a level playing field. Minnesota should not be able to beat Ohio State. Right? In our league, it's a level playing field. No one has financial advantages over anyone else, and that's why everybody says, "Why is the league so competitive?" I said, "Look at the payrolls of all the schools. Look at the money. Like, we spend the same within reason. We spend the same. We have the same resources. Well, if you have the same resources, you're going to have very similar products. If you don't have similar, if somebody has $400 million and somebody else has $80 million, well, it's not going to be the same product, right? That's when we go play Miami, Florida. It's not the same product. They've got this amount, we got this amount. So it's an uphill battle. So in our league now, it's 8 straight weeks if it's a fair fight. You got to come ready to play, and you got to execute. And the team that plays better football typically wins in this league.
Very good. Nope.
Coach, you've already touched on a lot of stuff, but just kind of how generally are you feeling about your team going into the start of MAC play?
Yeah, no, I like my team. I've liked it. I always like my team. I got great kids. They compete. They prepare. They do extra. They get here early. They stay late. They're willing to make sacrifices. We typically get better as the year goes on because our coaches will keep grinding away. We don't get too high or too low. we look at everything critically. We don't look at Saturday and look at the score and say everything's great. We've already corrected a bunch of plays and a bunch of situations that need to be corrected. And again, we certainly love the good stuff you do, but so we just kind of plod away. We're a very boring, workmanlike, blue collar, program is what we are, and that's why we've been very consistent. We've been the model of consistency. A lot of programs go up and down. We just kind of, like I said, if your worst year is 500, which we did last year, when you lose your start, if you go the 500 without your starting quarterback, you're probably a pretty consistent team. So we're always a team that people know we're going to come ready to play. We're going to be prepared. Our kids are going to play smart and hard, and we're going to try to out execute you and let the chips fall where they may. So I feel good about my team. I'm very proud of 3 straight on the road and come out 2-1 with those 3, and you're favored in 1 and you're decided underdog in the other 2, and you come out 2-1, and just being on the road and dealing with the different things. I think our kids, as usual, have done a great job with our coaches and put ourselves in a position where we should be a confident group, but confidence, like Randy Gunlock told the team on Friday, confidence comes from being out-prepared or being over-prepared. When you know you're more prepared than them, you should be confident. If not, then you should never have confidence. And that was some wonderful advice from a guy that's been very successful in his life. Said he went into every meeting that he ever went into to get the sale, that he knew more than the other guy. He always felt like he had an advantage. He goes, the times he didn't, he usually didn't get the sale. So being over-prepared is a wonderful thing.